It's difficult to quantify the amount of success Metallica has had over the course of their career. Very few bands have reached the levels that they have, and even now they are as relevant pretty much as they've ever been, playing some of the biggest football stadiums this summer with support from Pantera and Five Finger Death Punch. But even a band like Metallica hasn't always landed with their fans with some of the material they've released. I think one example that comes to mind, of course, is Saint Anger with that snare, but even a song like Frantic comes across pretty well in a live environment. But there's also that one project, I don't really consider it an official Metallica album, but Lulu, featuring Lou Reed, essentially was Metallica instrumentals with spoken word poetry on top. And for Lars Ulrich, in a new book featuring the poetry of Lou Reed, he says that essentially ignorance is why that project wasn't more successful. And he also says the record is actually aged pretty well. You let me know what you think about that in the comments. Here's what Lars had to say. Before we continue, YouTube tells us we have a lot of returning viewers, and most of you have not yet subscribed. If you could take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button for the latest rock news, we would really appreciate it. The late Lou Reed has a newly released book out called The Art of the Straight Line, My Tai Chi, and Lars Ulrich is featured in the book, discussing the album Lulu. In that book, Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich seemed genuinely surprised about the negative reaction to Lulu, but he attributes that reaction to ignorance. He said, "What the fuck is it about Lulu that it got that kind of reaction? I can't quite figure it out. But years later, it's aged extremely well. It sounds like a motherfucker still. So I can only put the reaction down to ignorance. It took our fans to a place I wish they would go more often. Maybe it would be a better time to release it now with what's going on outside in the world, the chaos. I don't know, but I'm very proud of this record. James and I would be figuring out ways through a piece of music, and then Lou would look it over and go, 'That's it. I'm not doing another fucking take of that.' That's not the way we usually worked, but it was so beautiful and great, the whole thing." Kirk Hammett shared a similar sentiment in an interview about 3 years ago, saying he's always been a big supporter of Lulu. He said, quote, "Even when all my friends are shaking their heads and looking at me going, 'Bro, what were you thinking?' It was a real accomplishment as far as I was concerned. We were there to help Lou Reed fulfill his vision, and I think we did that 100%. This was not a Metallica album, and it was not a Lou Reed album. It was Lou Reed and Metallica together doing something completely different. It's not for everyone, but Junior Dad, I think, is one of the best songs we've ever been associated with in terms of real art and literature and music coming together. That to me is a real accomplishment, just as much as Ride the Lightning is." Previously, in a 2012 interview with Spin, Lars again admitted he was genuinely surprised at the negative reaction to the record, saying it was more spiteful than anyone was prepared for, especially against Lou. He is such a sweet man. But when Metallica do impulsive riffing and Lou Reed is reciting abstract poetry about German bohemians from 150 years ago, it can be difficult to embrace. Lou Reed passed away in October 2013 at the age of 71. His book, The Art of the Straight Line, My Tai Chi, is out everywhere now. That's your latest update from Rockfeed. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet and check out the recommended video up on your screen.